Hey ladies, welcome to online class today, and the topic today is very important, and I've got so many responses from women asking me if it's going to be available in replay. The art of difficult conversations, and we'll talk about your relationship with your partner, with your life partner, your boyfriend, your husband, whoever you are with. And of course, all of these tips you can still apply in different types of relationships. We will look at the dynamics between masculine and feminine beforehand, because that's where the gap is. This is where misunderstanding happens. This is where separation and lots of wounding, right? So we're gonna address that today. If you're watching on replay, you can still participate and ask questions and comments. I'll come back to you later as well. Beforehand, I want to emphasize that difficult conversations with your partner is absolutely necessary, right? You can't really skip them because you want to grow together, and this is something that can bring you deeper to the deeper level of intimacy, deeper level of connection and understanding. So we can't really skip them if we want to grow. But there is a big difference between difficult conversations and, drama, or like what we call low drama, that many times we women create, right? So if you a little bit confused between these two, we're gonna address that today. So beforehand, I want to also address a few illusions, because we're looking for this deep relationship that will last for a lifetime, right? And finding that soulmate who can meet us where we are and meet us in our power and being that empowered masculine. But there are some illusions that we have to release beforehand so we can open ourselves up and receive an opportunity to have these relationships. The first illusion that I feel is created out there in the society, that if you meet that person who matches your energy, your soulmate, and you just fall in love, and there is one and only that will that you are supposed to have that amazing idyllic relationship, and you will never have conflict. He will just get you. He will do everything right, and there will no need for like digging deep and triggering stuff and etc. No, that's not gonna happen, because we are all here learning and evolving. And at this time, oh hey Anya, welcome. And at this time of the history is actually is crucial, and lots of triggers, lots of personal and cultural and social conditioning comes up for us, and generational, that we need to process and deal with and release. We need to release lots of stuff. So when you are in this relationship, you need to watch it for them. Okay, you can always watch on replay. It will be available. I know it's Friday. It's during the day, so many women will watch on replay anyway. So we need to understand that maybe that person is meant to show up and teach us, and we teach each other to release all this conditioning and come back to our core self of who we are on the soul level, and we can evolve together. So actually, when you meet your soulmate, you have even more difficult conversations, and more triggering stuff comes up, because you are meant to help each other, assist each other to evolve to a better self, right, to a higher self. So that is inevitable, and that is a good thing, right? The second illusion that women have about relationship, especially if it's a good relationship or even okay relationship, they think that they are not supposed to rock the boat. I've heard it so many times. It's like, oh, it's okay, I can tolerate this. I shouldn't rock the boat, right? But that is actually avoiding. So the rock the boat thing, I feel, has the fear. It's a fear-based thing, right? It's something that we're trying to avoid to go to the core to address something difficult because we are afraid to lose what we already have, right? There is a fear of loss. What if he can't tolerate this? What if I address it, it will get even worse? It's better to stay where we are. It's still okay. It's better than others. So that can keep us in this suffocating place that at some point it will come up. At some point you can't hold it in anymore. At some point you will feel resentful, and at some point you can't control yourself all the time. It will blow up, and it will be worse, and it will be a bigger drama, and that would be much more painful. So that doesn't work. That's an illusion. We have to drop that thing and that belief. Don't rock the boat, right? It doesn't mean we have to create the drama, right? But we have to have the difficult conversations. So, and the third illusion that I wanted to address is that if you meet your soulmate, it means that you're gonna have lifelong relationship with them, and nothing else will show up. That's how it is. No, that's actually not true. Well, many of us become aware when we grow. Hi Holly, nice to see you. When we grow, we understand that we do have many soulmates. Maybe it's a friend, maybe it's your child, maybe your parent, maybe whoever you meet. There is a soul tribe, right? And there also, in a romantic way, there can be several people that you can connect and have soulmate relationships. So if you believe that you have one now and you think there are some guarantees, that is an illusion, because nobody ever protects us or gives us guarantees or insurance that our soulmate love will last forever and will be this happy end that they show in the movies, right? That's not true. And in fact, many times when you are in this deep loving relationship, when you really love somebody, it can be actually very challenging and difficult. It's more difficult when having a relationship with somebody you're like, not sure, right? You can skip lots of stuff and kind of like not take it serious. But when you really love somebody, it is much more difficult to go through these phases. And each relationship goes through the phases of uncertainty. When if you're afraid, if you bring something up, if you shake that rope or boat. Hi Erica, nice to see you here. That it will collapse and it will get worse, and you ruin your beautiful relationship with your soulmate. That is not true. And we're meant, as I said, we're meant to have these difficult times and uncertain times when you actually don't know, and you surrender and trust yourself and the universe that you need to bring this up. You need to open this space for these hard things, and you're okay. You're not afraid to lose your partner. You're not in fear of loss and holding on so hard that you can't really move and evolve together. You will go through the phases of uncertainty when it's like, wow, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's gonna happen. So that is part of our feminine power, of being able to be okay with that and deal with that and navigate that. So these are 3 illusions that I wanted to address. Now I want to share the most important and practical part of this class today, right? I say it's class because it is educational. It is all about learning and embodying and activating all these skills and understanding the difference between masculine and feminine on a deeper level, and also how to do all these things that seems to be so hard. Nobody was teaching us, right? Well, number one thing that I want to make it really big deal. It's a big deal, right? So allow yourself to absorb it. It's a huge deal. And those ones who participated in my webinar, Receive Him, right? Try to allow it, Receive Him. I was sharing this piece, and this is something that we have to accept no matter what. And we women are the leaders in our relationship with man. In the area of relationship, intimacy, love, we are the leaders. So it is more like our responsibility to navigate, to create, and lead in this area, right? And this, it makes so much sense because we are so much more emotionally intelligent. We're so much more connected to our emotions, to feelings, to energy. We're more sensitive, and it's easier for us to understand and process and navigate and use it and verbalize it so much easier than for men. The men more vulnerable in this area. They are less advanced by nature. They are wired differently, so they avoid this. And if we don't provide safety, emotional safety for them, they will freak out. They will not open up. So, the masculine is like provide and protect external, right? It's all about external hazards. It's about physical strength. Like they provide physical safety, right? So it is all balanced, but we have to own our leadership and own our power in this area, and not to expect that the man will initiate a difficult conversation, that he will know how to deal with relationship challenges or how to navigate. He's not going to do that. How to process the hard emotional stuff. He's not going to do that. So that's why it's so important to own it and accept it and know that this is our stuff. We are the leaders here, and it's a different kind of leadership. I will share a little more about that. And then our power is our voice. So leading these conversations it's crucial to understand that we are more responsible for that. We are the leaders. We are meant to initiate. Feminine power is all about the voice, and now we're opening it up so much in comparison with 100 years ago, or great mothers, and even several decades ago. Women become more powerful because we feel physically more safe in this world, so we can use our power in this level, right? So that is something to remember, and that is like foundation. And now I want to share a few practical steps of how to actually deal with these difficult conversations, right? So the first practical advice the piece of advice I want to share with you is try to never initiate those difficult conversations which are emotionally charged, triggering, about the relationship with the person, with the man that you're actually talking with. When you are emotionally triggered yourself, right? That's what creates drama, that's what creates chaos, that's what creates pain, and eventually can destroy the relationship. When you are supercharged, super emotional, this is not a good time to initiate that conversation. Pause, and this is when we want it to the most. This is like we have the passion to do that, but no. First, it's good to take a pause, to pause any kind of external reaction, and take it in and process your own triggers first. Because in each conflict, in each situation, like emotionally charged stuff, there are your triggers that is connected to your story and your patterns, and it's not exactly his fault. He just shows up for you to give that lesson. And also there is a real stuff that is not, something is not working in a relationship, and it's real thing to address. So there are both, always both. So it's very important to take your time and go deep and do your inner work, your feminine deep work, to understand and use discernment to filter what you're going to talk about and what you're not going to talk about, because you have to own your own bullshit, and you need to process your own bullshit as well and own it, understand the difference, right? So that is number one thing, because otherwise, what we create, lots of drama, and it's a chaotic, and nobody can benefit from it. The second practical advice is, when you actually ready to address that conversation and bring it up, and you processed your triggers, you feel okay, now I'm aware, I'm calm, I understand what's going on. Now check in with your intention. What is your intention behind this desire to have the conversation? Because many times what happened, and that's kind of a trap, a blind spot for many of us, that beforehand we want to be heard and seen, right? And it's nothing wrong with that, but not to connect. Because if you have a conversation versus emotional release, like emotional dumping, which we need for sure as well, we just need to find a better setting for that. If you want to have a conversation, your intention is to connect with your partner, not to release your emotions and frustration and all of that, right? That's why we prepare. And that makes huge difference, because your partner sense, men are instinctive, they sense, their defense mechanisms about emotional safety is really good, so they sense everything. So if the intention is not pure, it's not connection, it's not gonna work. And that's proven. Like, I've done that before, those mistakes, and I worked with women. It's just like he sensed that and he puts the defenses. You can't resolve anything. You can bring it to a deeper level of intimacy, right? So that is very important, to check in. What is my intention? Is it to connect, not to release my emotions, right? And that's a different conversation about release. Number 3 is remembering that your partner, like we're talking about masculine and feminine, your partner is a man. He is wired differently. His psyche works differently. So especially about emotional stuff, right? The man processes emotions 5 times slower than women. That gives us so much advantage and power. This is a place of our power. So if you show up and connect with him, he wants to feel safe because he can't keep up with you, and that makes him like feel weak. And if he feels like you're overpowering him and like accelerating that pace and putting too much, he will shut down again and he will not be able to connect. So you have to respect that difference. It's just like something fundamental that we can't really change or fix. We have to deal with it, right? It's nobody's fault. So instead of like putting too much, I really recommend to break it down and make it really slow and have these little breaks and pauses in between so he can process. So like respect his emotional pace, the pace of his emotional processing. Give him some time, you know. It's maybe it sounds like talking to a child, but it's not quite, because you just respect the differences, right? You're better with this, he's better with that. Like, we have to meet and connect in somewhere in the center. So if he feels that you respect that, and if he asks for time and space, you have to give it to him. Or maybe you ask him, okay, you need to process that. If he doesn't respond to you right away, that means that he needs space and time to process. So it's better to go slower, but then you will be able to connect and you will be able to grow and to be understood and heard as well. And also, this is how you build the foundation of trust. Like, he will start to trust you and he will start to open up emotionally because he will feel safe with you, and that will lead to deeper emotional intimacy, something that we women are all hungry, right? We're hungry for this emotional intimacy, but we don't know how to create that. That actually starts with us. Number 4 is remember that only 7% of communication is verbal, right? And we're good with verbal. We are really good finding the right words for our emotions, and also like instinctively we find the painful spots when we're triggered, and like, you know, press those painful buttons in the man's emotional body. So we have to be aware of that, right? And before you go ahead and initiate that difficult conversation, make sure you're connected with your body. Your body is relaxed, you're not tense, because the body shows you that if the body is tense and not relaxed, it means you're triggered emotionally. That's not still a good time to talk. Your body is relaxed, your emotions are balanced and processed and separated. Your stuff is separated from real problems that you want to talk about. Your mental process is clear, so you use clear logical explanations, because this is how men understand, right? They have to, it has to make sense as well. And you're spiritually connected. You feel like you're supported by the God of the universe, that you're speaking your truth from the place of love and compassion. You're talking to a man that you love, that you're in a relationship with. So that all has to be prepared before you have that difficult conversation. So again, he feels like it's a safe space and you're confident and in this, he will trust you. Uh, the advice number 5: apply silence and non-doing, and giving space and natural disconnect versus creating pressure and bugging him. So did you decide? So what do you think? So what's your response? What's your answer? Did you process, or you're not respecting? Like, no, give him time, and like take your time as well. Like, if you ask for your time and space, he will understand you so much better, because he needs the same, right? Disconnect and focus on something else. Allow him to come back and say, hey, I've been thinking about what you said, and allow him to come back, initiate response. Use silence, non-doing, and natural disconnect to give him some space to breathe and process, and so he can come back to you. And the last one, right? 22 minutes. The last one is also very, very important, and this is like so many women are giving in on this one. Like, I would really recommend to pay attention what it means and go deeper with this. Don't sugarcoat baby talk or eggshell walk with your man. That's not gonna work as well. That's kind of opposite of creating drama and creating all this supercharged emotional space. Because when you do the sugar cover baby talk, this is not, first, it's not authentic. It comes from fear that you're afraid to address some real stuff. And subconsciously, when you do that, like when maybe you want to get something that you want from him, but you don't want to kind of bring it in the masculine way, but this is not also empowering way to share, deal with it, because subconsciously when you do that, you kind of diminish yourself, right? You think you very hard, you're kind of playing small, you trying to put yourself in a smaller box, and it's like, oh, it's not a big deal, like you're diminishing your energy. So like he subconsciously he observes that and is like, oh, I can dominate here. She feels weak, right? Hi Elena, thank you. She feels like she wants to be dominated, like her truth is not that important, and like whatever. It's like when you show that smallness, right? So that is not a good way to share and have those it's not even a difficult conversation, it's kind of pretending. So he also wants to know you, your real you, not a fake copy of you, or not a smaller copy of you. Yes, if it's not being navigated well, your bigness, your power can be overwhelming, and we were covering that before today, right? If you apply all of that, you don't need to sugar cover baby talk or eggshell walk with your partner, right? And I don't believe I don't believe in giving in relationships, or like compromise in relationships on important things. You have to be centered and connected to your core truth, and communicate from a very deep place, and show what is permanent within you. That is what is not going to change because he doesn't like it, right? If it is something really important, you have to hold on to that and stay centered, and give him time to process, and give him an opportunity to connect with that part of you, which is his inner work that he needs to do as well. Like, don't steal his work from him, don't do everything for him. He needs that, but you need to show up in this confident, empowered, at the same time loving and compassionate place, right? So that's what I wanted to share with you today. You can watch again on replay, you can make notes, you're welcome to ask some questions and comments there. I do believe it is very, very valuable and very deep information for your inner work, and it can transform your relationship. Just all these 6 tips, they really like fundamental and really game-changing in our relationship. So I'm wishing you a great Friday and great weekend, and I talk to you soon. Thank you everybody who was here with me. Bye.